There it goes.
There he is. Okay.
Okay, this is Kendra Karen. I'm here to interview Mom and Dad Packard. We're here at Packard Oaks in Telephone, Texas. Today is February the 19th, 2020. And we're going to talk to Mom about her birth.
Well, I was born and raised in a little town called Hoke's Store or Hoke's Chapel, or it became Pembroke,
Virginia.
Virginia, and also Mountain Lake, Virginia. Mountain Lake was just above our home. But I lived in two homes when I was first born. We lived in a very small little home just above where my grandparents, where my dad was born. And then we moved after I was, I think I was about 8 or 9 years old. We moved into another home that we now still own as children of that home. But anyway, we had 13 children in our family. My mom and dad gave birth to 13 children. There were 5 boys and 8 girls.
What number were you?
And I was number 8, I think. I was number 8. And anyway, we lost 2 little boys when they were just infants, little toddlers. Both of them died. But anyway,
How old were you when they died?
I was about 10, I think. 8, maybe.
8 years.
8 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
I was very young, and I really only remember one of the deaths of the little boy that died. I remember Mom made a little black pillow and put it in the casket of one of the little boys so it's, could raise his head up a little better. And then I remember when they had put him in the little casket, and our neighbor was carrying the casket up to our home. So I remember that about the boys. But anyway,
they were younger than you.
Yes, I was born in the first home, at home, and April 17th, 1940. That's when I was born. And anyway, I was born in this little home, and Mom did not have a doctor that ever came. My grandmother always came and would be with Mom when she would have her babies, most of them. But anyway, I didn't have a doctor, and I don't remember. I was never told how much I weighed or how big I was or anything like that. But anyway, Mom never ever had any type of anesthetic to, anything to give her relief while she was, having all these babies. They just had them natural, and that's it, And I can remember in the second home with one of the other girls or boys that was born, that I remember my mom was upstairs in that room, and one of the other children were carrying down kind of like a pail that had blood in it, and like a tampon, in it. And you could see that. And so that's basically the only thing I remember ever about the babies, is just that one time. Well, anyway, we were very poor, but yet we were happy people,
And you didn't know you were poor.
We didn't really know that we were poor, but basically we were. But, I've always said at least we had a roof over our heads, we had food on the table, and we had a mother and father that loved us and helped us. And we had plenty of clothes for what we needed and going to school and things like that. But I remember we never ever celebrated birthdays, ever, for any of the children, even the mom and dad. In fact, I never ever remember any mentioning or recognition of, hey, today is Tasha's or, my Claudine's birthday. Ever. We just didn't do it because we were poor and everybody else was poor. Same thing. And we never did have any recognition at school, that, hey, it's her birthday today, or church, or anything like that. They just didn't celebrate birthdays. And we didn't ever get any presents either. We just, had 3 meals a day, and my mom always made hot bread for us every meal. Every meal we had hot bread made from scratch, baked in a wood stove, and eaten at the table. So anyway, again, we were very poor. But anyway, we had a good time. Dad always worked. He never missed work. My mother never ever drove. Dad did all of that. Dad did all of the financing and stuff like that. And then, but Mom, again, never did drive, but she did all of the work as far as taking care of picking the fruit, canning the fruit, doing the vegetables, having gardens, working in the garden and stuff like that. So that's where I was taught how to work.
Your mother never worked outside the home.
She never did work outside the home. Never did. No.
Why did she not drive?
Honey, I just don't think that they felt that she should, because Dad always had the car. He always drove, and so, but she never did. I don't think she felt that she should, because Dad would bring things from the store, or the children that were older and drove, they would bring things.
How did you get to school?
When I went to school, we went to school in about, it's probably what, 5 miles?
Down in Pembroke.
Down in Pembroke.
Oh, it's about 7 miles.
7 miles, 5 or 7 miles, down to the high school, or the school that was there. And I went to the same school from 1st grade through the 12th grade, and in the same building.
So you walked?
No, the bus came up a bus came just down below us and picked us all up.
Once they moved up the hill, on top of the hill more, they had to walk about a half a mile
to get to the
get to the bus.
Okay.
Sometimes the bus didn't come in the wintertime. It was snow so bad that the bus driver would come so far, probably 5 miles away from there, and couldn't come any higher. And so we missed a lot of school because of that. And
this was in the hills of Virginia, and they're pretty high. Her home is quite far up that mountainside, and Mountain Lake is 2 miles more up to get to the resort called Mountain Lake.
But all of my brothers and sisters were born right there in the little town of Hoke's Chapel, and up at Mountain Lake, because my mother and father worked at this Mountain Lake Hotel. It's a big summer resort that's on the mountain.
With a golf course.
With a golf course, with a 9-hole golf course, and a big, huge lake right on top of the mountain. And my mom and dad worked there, as my dad especially took care of, they were the caretakers. They did the caddying of the golfing. And in fact, my brother worked there as a caddy. My other brother, Beverly and Olin, both worked as caddies at the golf course when they were young. And they also mowed the greens and stuff like that. And so they were employed by the Mountain Lake Hotel, property. And then when, as more and more children came, then they moved down to the small little home where then he had started working at what's called the Celanese Corporation. My dad did. And he worked there for like 25 years and never missed a day. And then my other brother, Olin, got a job there, worked for Celanese. And then my brother Beverly started working there too. And mostly the people in that area, that's where they basically all worked, for the Celanese Corporation, which was a manufacturing
plastic
for, like, they made cigarette filters. They did.
So it was a factory.
It's
There's a big one.
It was a big factory, basically. And they made other things like bobbins and just a lot of things. And they did make the cigarette filters. But everybody worked there. Everybody in the whole area worked there. And so that's how my dad basically made the living. He never missed, and he was a good worker, and everybody loved my dad. They liked Dad because Dad was kind of a happy person. And anyway, again, I went to church there, just below our house, at a neighbor's house. And then we finally got a little church built that we would go to down in Pembroke. And so anyway, we went to church. I was baptized when I was 8.
In a creek.
In a creek, and all my family were baptized. All of the brothers and sisters were all baptized, and basically active in the church when they were really young. And as they got older, much older, even like my age, they just kind of stopped going. And
What about your parents? Did they
And-
stop too?
no, well, yes, my dad and mother both, because my dad started smoking.
As an adult.
As an adult, I realized that that's what it was, when I was younger, that it was cigarettes and stuff like that. And so anyway, he stopped going to church, but my mom always, I remember always, I'd see money in the windowsills in the living room, and that money was for her tithing, to pay for tithing. And so Mom always insisted that everybody pay tithing and stuff like that. Even though they didn't go to church, she still, insisted that she would pay tithing. And then when I met Bob, when I was old enough, had gone through 12 years of school, and then Bob came on a mission, and we met Bob on a mission, and we were active at that time, pretty much. The young teenagers were. And anyway, when we met, before I met Bob, my dad was not going to church, and the missionaries would come up to our house and try to teach him, but he thought that they were coming just to see us as kids.
Girls.
The girls,
teenage-
yes, the teenagers,
cute, beautiful
yes,
girls.
yes. And so Dad would always leave, and of course the missionaries couldn't figure out, well, why is he, up there and not here with us? But anyway, he became active. We became more active. My mom became active, and then after
He was even made the bishop.
he was the bishop for branch president when he was back there.
Branch president.
President. He became that. My mom even became the Relief Society president back there.
Ready?